you know, it came to me right away. What about doing stuffed chicken breasts? I think we all can get chickened out every once in a while, and we eat a lot of chicken in my house, we really do. So, and I love chicken, don't get me wrong, but boy, if you can take the time and do something a little extra special with it, like stuffing the chicken breasts, you will take them to a whole new level. And I'm gonna do one of my favorite things to stuff them with: broccoli and cheese. Love, love, love that combination. So does my husband Bob. Big fan of broccoli and cheese. So this is one of his favorites. So first thing I'm going to do is, when you're stuffing chicken breasts, the boneless, skinless chicken breasts come like this, and they're a little bit thick to work with. And we want to make them so we can stuff them and roll them. So basically, I'm going to take the boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I like to put them in between plastic wrap, which keeps chicken from flying all over your kitchen. And then I'm going to just take my meat mallet. Now, if you don't have one of these, you don't have to run out and buy one, but I do have to tell you, that's one of those gadgets I use a lot of. For years, I didn't have a meat mallet, so you'd use the back of a frying pan or a rolling pin, or maybe even a wine bottle if you carefully can use it. And then finally, I picked up one of these, and I was like, yeah, this is really the tool for the job. But either of those other things I mentioned will work. And you have to be very careful. And I just want to move this so you can see it. When you do pound these chicken breasts, because we don't want to pound them too thin so that they rip apart. So it's kind of like a happy medium. So I'm just going to get to work here. And you also want to use, if you have a meat mallet, the flat part of the meat mallet, not the other side, because that'll tear it apart. That's more for tenderizing. So we want to flatten these, which is going to give us a lot more area to work with when it comes to stuffing these chicken breasts. And I know it's kind of loud, but it's kind of a fun thing to do. All right, that one looks perfect. And you see, if we didn't have that plastic wrap, this chicken would be flying all over the kitchen, making a big mess. So we don't want that. Let's just pound the other one. And there's no way to do this without making a bunch of noise. And yeah, if this is kind of fun. It really is. Get out that aggression at the end of the day. All right. Both of these look perfect. Okay, so now we've got a nice big area that we can work with when it comes to stuffing these babies. And that's really the hardest part of the whole recipe. And that wasn't all that hard. It was kind of fun. Okay. Now, I'm going to season up these chicken breasts with a little bit of salt and pepper. And this is something, if you're having people over, company over, you can get these done, stuffed, and in the refrigerator a good even day or so before you're baking them. So a little bit of salt and pepper. And now I'm going to take some frozen chopped broccoli. You don't even need to cook this. You can just let it thaw. And then I've got some sliced cheddar cheese. Now, the cheddar cheese, our slices are a little bit big, so I'm just going to kind of cut them so that we'll have plenty of space to work with. But any kind of cheese would work. I love the combination of broccoli and cheddar. But there's so many different things that you can stuff chicken breasts with. Sometimes I'll go a little gourmet and spread them with boursin, which is a garlic herb cream cheese, and maybe do sun-dried tomato. And sky's the limit. This is more of just kind of a method, pounding them, seasoning them, and then just stuffing them. So I'm going to lay the cheese down over the chicken. And then I'm going to take some of this chopped broccoli. We're using the chopped because it's easier to work with than using the florets. And you don't want to overstuff the chicken. That's key, because then you're not going to be able to fold it up. So we want to stuff it, but we don't want to overstuff it. And that's, I think, where some things can go wrong when you're making these at home. Okay. Now we're just going to roll them up, and I like to secure them with toothpicks. You could also use butcher string, kitchen string that you can pick up at the grocery store. I like to use plain wooden toothpicks. So you just basically roll them up as tight as you can and try and get all of that stuffing in there. Now you may lose a little bit of it, but that's all right. And then you take the toothpicks and just kind of seal up these little hidden treasures. Just a couple of them will do it. And then you're going to have that nice surprise inside. Kind of that little wow factor when after you bake them, and then you've got this great little filling inside. So all right, let me get this one going. And as tight as you can wrap them, more tight the better. All right. And I like to make sure and use the plain wooden toothpicks rather than the colored ones. The colored, then your chicken breast will take on that rainbow color of the toothpicks, which is not a good thing. Okay, now we're going to do a little light breading on these chicken breasts just to give them some more flavor. And this is quick and easy and really makes this delicious. I'm just wash my hands here, touch that raw chicken. All right. Now I've got 2 shallow dishes, and I'm going to form a little breading station because whenever you're breading something, it can be an awful mess, and you can have breading all over the kitchen. We don't want that. So in one of the dishes, I've just got some dried Italian seasoned breadcrumbs. In the other dish, I'm going to take a couple of eggs. I'm going to make an egg wash. A little bit of water. And I'm going to whisk the eggs and the water together. And I've also got a little bit of melted butter that I'm just going to, or butter that I'm going to actually melt in the microwave. How are you today, Miss Ann?
Good.
We're going on a treasure hunt. Have you ever been on a treasure hunt?
Yeah.
I used to love, like, in camp where you go on a treasure hunt or a scavenger hunt, or, you know, that's so fun. Okay. So I've got a foil-lined baking sheet, and that's going to keep us from having a real mess because some of the cheese is going to, you know, while it's baking and melting, may leak out all over things, and you know how it is to clean cheese, melted cheese up. So I've got basically a cookie sheet that I've lined with foil, and I'm actually going to give it a spray with some cooking spray just so that we can have real easy cleanup and that those chicken breasts will just slide right off. All right, let me get my melted butter, and we'll get the show on the road. So first we're going to lightly coat our chicken with the egg wash, the egg and water, and then we're going to bread our chicken just very carefully. We've got all that stuffing in there with the breadcrumbs, and sometimes you just kind of have to take some of the breadcrumbs and coat that chicken real well. And then this gets onto the cookie sheet or your baking sheet. So again, we're going to carefully roll the stuffed chicken breasts in the egg wash and then into the breadcrumbs. And see, when you have these like dishes and kind of have a breading station, when you're organized, it really helps with the mess. All right. And one last step that we're going to do is we're going to take, because we're not frying these guys, and we want them to get a little bit brown, I'm just going to take a little bit of melted butter and drizzle this over the top. And this is going to give some great flavor. You wouldn't have to do this, but again, a little bit of nice flavor. And then maybe a little bit more salt and pepper. And there you go. Okay, into the oven this goes. We're giving Ann a hard time because hers aren't quite as pretty as mine, but most of the time she outdoes me, so that's okay. We'll let you off the hook this time. But these go into the oven, And because they're stuffed, they take a little longer to bake. Depends how many of them you're doing. If you're doing about 4, these may take about 45 minutes to an hour in the oven. Preheat the temperature about 350, 375. So come back with me. I want to show you these beautiful treasures with the surprise inside. I like to serve these, keeping it nice and light with rice pilaf, maybe a little broccoli on the side. Ooh, I'm excited about this. We've got some other surprises in the oven too.
Gorgeous.
I know, well,
They're gorgeous.
they're gonna taste wonderful. How about that? So here you go. Cheese kind of oozing out. That little treasure chest of a surprise, the broccoli inside. Stuffed chicken breast with broccoli and cheese. Doesn't get much better than that. Recipes on our website. You can also pick it up at any area festival food.